Hello, everybody. We are at math lesson number 5. I've been working a little bit of my Saturday to get these awesome lessons to you guys. Wearing my t-shirt. I'm feeling good. You might see a little bit of rainbow streaking coming here because we have some light and some sunlight coming in, which is awesome. So I can't believe we're on lesson 5 already. So you'll need to remember your rounding basics. So go back and watch that if you are unsure about rounding. But why don't we just start right off? I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, today we're going to be talking about estimation strategies. So you might have heard the words rounding and estimation before, and you might think they're the same exact thing. They're not. They're a little bit different, and I'll explain why. Before we start real quick, I forgot to add, remember this lesson will be taught in person, so you'll get to see this lesson in person. But if you want to watch it again, if you're getting stuck on the homework, this is a good place to watch it. Okay, so estimation, like rounding, it's substituting complex numbers like 5,672 for simpler numbers like 6,000. That's a little bit easier to add in. Sorry, you might hear my dogs and my cats running around, so they're pretty active. The difference between rounding and estimation. Rounding has a rule. You got to follow it every single time. So if it says to the nearest thousands or hundreds, you find that first. Remember, we circled it, and then we went back and we looked at it. And remember my rule I told you, if it's 5 or above, the number before the one you're supposed to round, you got to give the number you round up a shove. Take it one up. So if it's a 5, it turns to a 6. If it is 4 or below, you got to let it go. You got to just keep it at that 5. Estimation, though, the difference is it doesn't really have a rule. You just have to be close to the number, and you got to pick out some numbers that are going to be easy to be used. They need to be numbers that you can plug into your head really, really easily. So you can round. Rounding is an estimation strategy, and if that is the strategy you use, fantastic. It'll give you good practice rounding. But the strategies I'm going to give you here are actually going to be a little bit easier than rounding, and they might help you on your homework that you will get. There are 3 main ways. I guess there's 4. I kind of told you the 4th one's rounding, but we've already gone over that. The 3 I'm going to teach you here are called overestimating, underestimating, and close number estimating. So we'll start with overestimating. Overestimating is where you take each number up, no matter where it is. No matter if it's really close to the one below it, you always go up. So let's say we want to get the thousands on here. Here's our 3 numbers, 3,472, 2,739, 4,921. Kind of tricky numbers to add up. I could not do those in my head, and I'm pretty good at math. So what you would do in overestimating is you would just take this first number and bump it up, whatever it is. You go over that number. So 3 would turn into 4, and then it would turn into zeros after that, 0, 0, 0. 2 would turn into 3, 0, 0, 0. 4 would turn into 5, 0, 0, 0. So overestimating would make it 4,000 plus 3,000 plus 5,000. I can do those in my head. That's 12,000 is your estimate. So the estimate's going to give you an answer kind of close, and it's a really good strategy to use before you do the question to make sure you're getting a close answer. The estimation strategy will always make your estimate higher than the actual number, which means if you go back and you add all of the numbers actually, the real ones, the answer needs to be less. If it is higher than your estimation, then you did it wrong, or you did the estimation wrong. You got to go back and check. Okay, that's overestimating. Next one is underestimating. Underestimating is where you take each number down and you go under. So for instance, add 3,472 plus 2,739 plus 4,921. Those are big numbers. I want to estimate them. So underestimating, you just take the first number and you keep it. And then you turn all the rest into zeros. So this would be 3,000. This one right here would be 2,000. And this one would be 4,000. So underestimating would make it 3,000 plus 2,000 plus 4,000. You'd get an estimate of 9,000. This estimation strategy will always make your estimate lower than the actual number. So you got to make sure that your answer is more than just an estimate, or is more than your estimation, excuse me. Here's the last one. I call it closest number estimation. It doesn't really have a name, but the other 2 did, so I wanted to make sure you had one for this. So you're just gonna find numbers that are close to the original, but still pretty easy numbers. This one, you're gonna use a lot of numbers in between the thousands, maybe between 3 and 4,000. That's too big of a gap for you. So it was too big of a gap for me when I practiced this. So for instance, we're adding the same numbers again. 3,472 plus 2,739, 4,921. Closest number would make it 3,500 because that 4 is really awfully close to the 500. I feel like it would be too far away if I underestimated to 3, and I feel like it would be too far away if I overestimated to 4,000. And then I did this one, it's 2,500. Same with this. I think it would be too far away if I overestimated, and I think it would be too low if I underestimated. And then I made this one 5,000. And in this strategy, it's okay to have one that does not have a 5 after that. So adding these together, I would get an estimate of 11,000. Getting the estimate of 11,000, this estimation strategy will make your estimate the most accurate. You'll get an answer that is the closest if you do it correctly. But some people struggle with knowing which numbers to go, and it is the toughest strategy to do. So you need to do a strategy that works for you. I'm going to show you how to do some of the homework today, because I know I might have some questions on this one. So this way, if you are doing the homework at home today and you have had this lesson with me, please get your homework out and watch this part. So the homework is going to be pages 11, 12, 13, and 14. Page 11 on the math book, it says read the number stories. Choose the appropriate estimation strategy. Workers in a toy factory make stuffed bears. The goal is to make at least 1,200 bears every 3 hours. In 1 hour, they make 447 bears. In the next hour, they make 453 bears. In the third hour, they make 458 bears. So, what you're going to do first, if you remember how to, I want you to use an estimation strategy. Excuse me, going back. I want you to use an estimation strategy first to see if they made their goal. You can choose, do you want to underestimate these? Turn them all to 400, I guess, would be the answer. Do you want to overestimate them? Turn them all into 500. Or do you want to do that close estimation? They're kind of right in the middle between 400 and 500. I would end up using that one the most personally. So what you'll do is you'll say yes or no, they met the goal. How did you know your answer? So that is where you kind of tell what strategy. And down here, how did you choose the estimation strategy? Why did you choose to use the one you did? Okay. There is an answer that I would consider more correct. However, if you can justify to me which answer you do there, fantastic, okay? Tell me, I think this is the best one because it'll get us the closest. And tell me why, okay? Why didn't you choose this one? Why didn't you do this? But basically, if I went up to you and asked you why you did it, that's where you'll write that down. Some people struggle with that part. It's really important to know why we're choosing these answers, okay? And then the next one, same thing. We're going to estimate some more. And then it wants you to do the actual number answer after to check and make sure your estimate is close. You may have also noticed that you have a thing called math boxes. I want you to do every single one of those. Those math boxes are your extra practice. The kids who work and do those the best that they can, they're going to be the best at math. That's the whole thing about math. We got to just practice and practice and practice. So that's your math lesson number 5. I will see most of you in class, but for my online learners, here's your lesson. You guys will do great. Make sure you email me if you got any questions. We want to make sure we're helping. Bye, everybody.